Get me the dollar. Swallow, don't swallow. Go down, don't go down on the first night. Tick A, B, C or big old D and follow our yellow bricks to the height of never, never. Cause cost you your lovely minutes. Cause cost you your lovely minutes. Cause cost you your lovely minutes. Go down, don't swallow. Go down, don't. Whatever is the case, is the case. You know. Hello, my name is Yap. And I don't know how to do this. Let's start there. You know, I've been studying for a long, long time. You know, I've been lost for a long, 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 long time. Okay, you know, we all get lost in abstract notions when we're kids. You know, I got lost in Catholicism. You know, which was an abstract notion, and patriotism, which is an abstract notion, etc., you know. So it's easy to get lost, you know. I was born, I had no say in those notions, you know, and how they were motioned up around my mind. But anyway, so, you know, we all get lost, we grow up by degree, you know, we learn to understand things by degree, you know, we learn to understand piano, you know, the keys and so on, how to play music by degree, you know, the mind builds up by degree. You know, so, you know, I start to study, you know, because, you know, I could tell you a million things that explain my life, you know, but it's all cliche driven, it's all some love, some anger, some whatever, you know, some rage, you know, some passion, some whatever. You know, but, you know, for some reason I start reading and studying and trying to find myself and, you know, trying to find myself in a better pond, you know, a pond without the piss, you know, without the smell of it, you know, of alcoholism, the smell of Catholicism, you know, and the smell of Nazism, you know, when we grow up and understand world perspectives, and the smell of slavery, you know, and the smell of sexism, you know, and the smell, how vulgar it all has become, you know, the smell of boob implants, you know, it disgusts the nose, it disgusts the eye, you know, it disgusts the ear, it disgusts the resonance. I'm thinking off the top of my head, this is a stream of consciousness, okay? You know, this is my heart, you know, through expression, you know. This is a stream of consciousness. And, you know, it kind of goes where it goes, you know. But what matters and, you know, the wave that we'll float upon is whatever is the case, is the case. As I've said, you know, before, and I will explain in a minute. But anyway, I studied, you know, and my studies brought me, you know, to books and to people, and from people to books, you know, and from books and people into the realms of metaphysics, you know, which is a science, you know, it's a science of, you know, understanding heaven, if you like, the science of understanding what holds up the face of nature, you know, this ontological face, this empirical face, you know. You know, I started to study, you know, history and women and men, you know, and women and men and daughters and fathers and mothers and Mexico and Russia and China and, you know, Muslim people and, you know, Irish people and English people and mums and dads and daughters and sons and whoa, you know, no matter how far I delved down, you know, no matter how far I went after our nature, you know, when I went to the east and to the west in my thought, you know, when I transcended each perspective, you know, when I tied it all up in one little wave, we turn out to be beautiful, you know, and that's what matters. That's what enlightenment, you know, it brings you down to that exactness, an intuitive exactness, you know, the mind comes down to that exactness, you know, all my studies have taught me this, okay, all my studies of you, you know, and your studies of me, all my studies of people, all my studies, all our libraries, all our books, all our everything has brought us down to one conclusion. We are of one measurement. We are of one measurement, okay? So I studied and I studied and I studied, you know, and now I'm ready in the most beautiful way, in the most poetic way, in the most philosophical way. You know, I am ready to fight back, okay? I am ready to fight back. My brain against your brain, okay? In a beautiful way. My brain against your brain, or my brain with you, whatever is the picture. My brain against your brain, or my brain with your brain, concurring with your brain, unified in communion with your brain. You know, I just want to find you in relation to me. I just want to find me in relation to you so we can concur, you know, and draw up a new constitution for humanity based on our essence this time. Okay, not based on primitive pseudo-law sets, you know, pseudo-intellectualists. I am a pseudo-intellectualist. How about that? I am a pseudo-intellectualist. You know, the isms, that which creates the fucking isms, that which creates the piss in the pond. Whatever is the case is the case. You know, but anyway, I digress. That's all good. I digress sometimes. I have a lot of information in my head. Like I say, I studied and I studied and I studied, you know, anthropology, epistemology, what real knowledge is. You know, linguistics, what language is about. You know, why language? Why, you know, we can't just spit up vulgar words like monarchy and, you know, slavery, you know, and bitch and nigger and Jew and paddy and when Muslim has become, you know, a people. How do we dirtify people? That's what's dirty about our language. How dirty our language is. You know, the language that represents monarchies, the language that carry the ideology of slavery. Dirty, dirty language. You know, when you understand linguistics as I do. Okay, so I want to debate linguistics. That's part of my fight. That's part of my beautiful, poetic, philosophical war. And I'm entitled to bring it, you know, as a philosopher, okay? As a philosopher. It was written in my mum's womb that I was a philosopher, so no argument. I represent Joe Public here today. You know, I represent Joe Elite here today. I'm here today with the words of the philosophers, you know. I'm here today with the words of the philosophers, the Kants, the Wittgensteins, the Thoreaus, the Emma Goldmans, the Malcolm X's, you know, the Gandhis, the Martin Luther Kings, the Jesus Christ, you know, the Allahs, the anybody who tried to fight, you know, with love and spirit and humanity and language and poetry and philosophy, you know what I mean, with our poetic essence, you know. I'm here today with that. Whatever is the case, you know. Let's just float around that, you know. Remember, this is ad-libbed. You know, and keep up with me, you know, rewind if you have to. You know, rewind if you have to. Rewind if you have to. This is all about your lovely minutes too. How do you want to spend your time, you know? Do you want to download some more Oprah Winfrey right now, or media, monkey media nonsense, you know, or fucking whatever. Monkey schools, monkey institutions, monkeyness. The paradigm is about to shift. That's what I'm about. The paradigm is about to shift. It's already shifting. I'm part of a huge wave in flux at present. You know, whatever is the case is the case. I want to debate monarchies. I want to debate monarchies and save, you know, the monarchists, you know. I want to bring them back to the light. How ironic after they killed a few of our lovely people. You know, how ironic. But anyway, I want to talk about establishment. What has been established. You know, yes, I am anti-establishment, but who isn't? I'm anti the establishment of deceit. I'm anti the establishment of weapons of mass destruction. I'm anti the establishment of factories that pollution, that kill my beautiful babies and friends and brothers and sisters and mums and dads and granddads and grannies. It's over. You know, what I want to bring to the table is, you know, so many subjects, so much knowledge, what fucking enlightenment is. I want to talk about mindsets, you know. How is my mind set around this reality? How is my mind set around this reality in relation to your reality? You know, let me give you a big perspective in a simple manner. Whatever is the case is the case. You know, we can transcend, you know. To transcend means, you know, we can lift our mind out right now. You know, we can lift our mind around, you know, monarchy, like I said, if we want to, you know, and the essence of monarchy, the dirty essence, you know, the better snot shit, the essence. We can lift our mind around that set, that constitution, that composed order. Okay, we can set the mind around that. You know, that's a big sweep of the mind. You know, it doesn't matter whether you can spell transcendentalism. What matters is that you can lift your mind out like that right now and transcend that perspective. That is a perspective of the mind. That is a perspective of a psychological perspective that the psychologists from any school in the world cannot deconstruct. It's a fact. Whatever is the case is the case. The mind can be set around a huge order in a simple manner, as I have just shown. I studied humanity, you know, so I'm confident. Why shouldn't I be? You know, I'm in the ring now, you know, to take you out with new punches. And this is only round one. You know, but anyway, how is the mind set around reality? You know, let's set the mind up again in another perspective, you know, just to show the mind that we can set it up in big perspectives, and then I'll show you why this perspective matters. Metaphysics and empiricism, okay? You know, I hope the scientists are listening. You know, I hope the scientists are listening, because I'm about to bring a new ball into the court. Okay, this is how the paradigm shifts. We've got to jump into new beds, broaden the level of awareness, as Einstein said. Broaden the level of awareness, which Einstein said, which I am trying to do here. Okay, this is not just big jargon for the sake of. Okay, this is nervous energy. This is nervous energy. This is nervous energy. I can feel this room. I know about the height and the geometrical structure of this room, etc. My perspective is set around phenomenon, empiricism, and all our measurements of this empirical realm, you know, are documented as after effects, as outcomes, etc., etc. E equals mc squared, an outcome of exponential and mass and energy, etc., all squared up in its own little circumstantial parameters, and we can blow it back into a box. It's easy. It's A, B, C. It's as simple as rocket science. But anyway, perspective, empiricism. Okay, that's one perspective the mind has, and your mind has that perspective too. Okay, don't be afraid of it. You can intuit it. Here's a second perspective that your mind can hold. And this is important, so stay with the picture, you know, extrapolate at the end from the whole. That's how you put a jigsaw picture together. Extrapolate at the end from the whole. The mind can be split into two parts. That's my point about that part. The mind can be split into two packages, you know, an empirical package and a metaphysical package, okay? That shows some serious weight in the mind, okay? That's what that's about. That shows, you know, the mind can transcendentally set up a square as a perspective. A square is a kind of packaged perspective, if you like, okay? Monarchy is a packaged perspective. We understand the square around 4 reference points as a packaged perspective, okay? We understand monarchy in the same manner around a packaged perspective. We understand empiricism around a packaged perspective. We understand metaphysics around a packaged perspective. We understand the mind trying to look at two different fields, empiricism and metaphysics, as a packaged, you know, perspective, etc. Okay, so the mind we can establish as holding packaged perspectives of reality. Okay, this is what we set our language up around, these perspectives, these bubbles of thought, okay? These bubbles, these pictures, these constitutions. Slavery, let's pull in slavery. Okay, the mind can pull in slavery as a perspective, okay? Now the mind can pull in slavery as a perspective. Now, if we add a body onto slavery, let's add on a body, an empirical body. Okay? Skin, heart, veins, blood, penises, breasts, whatever. The things that we chop off. Okay? The things that we chop off. Empiricism. Okay? How does it fucking hurt? Okay? Monarchy have chopped us up. You know, they've chopped up people. Chop them up, chop them up, chop them up. Okay? Get me the gold. Chop them up, chop them up, chop them up. Get me the dollar. Okay? That's what's going on. Primitive. Primitive in the face of what I'm trying to throw down here and establish. Okay? I'm the anti-establishment of primitive frameworks. You know, intelligence, enlightenment is the answer to the stupidity, to the village fucking idiot. Okay? Anyway, stay with the picture. I could be just a fruitcake using big words and speaking quickly. That could be the case. You know, or I could be a man with a lot to say. I've listened to people who have documented our beauty. You know, I've listened to people. That's what study is. You're listening to other people. You know, I've studied Kant, which means I've listened to what Kant had to say. You know, I studied Jesus Christ, which means I listened to what Jesus Christ had to say. I studied Gandhi and Malcolm X and Harriet Tubman, you know, and listened to what these beautiful people had to say. You know, so here it is again today, all packaged up neatly, you know, in a new way. You know, the study, just to go back on point, you know, while humanity has been loving and writing poetry and fighting economically and enslaving people and exploiting women and demonizing each other and vilifying each other and uglifying each other and mutilating your breasts and sticking in silicone and, you know, give me a bigger cock and I need a bigger car and I need a bigger pyramid and I need a bigger palace. Okay, palaces and poverty, palaces and poverty, palaces and poverty, palaces and poverty. It's everywhere. Today, 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 on the page. You know, at the time of, you know, fighting back. You know, this is all off the top of my head. You know, this is all a stream of consciousness. You know, my war, what's my war about? You know, my war of words, you know, and, you know, it's a big thing to say, I suppose, you know, I suppose in a little bit of an arrogant way, you know, that, you know, I'm bringing a fight in a new way, you know, but hey, you know, we're all entitled to say that, you know, and, you know, we're all entitled, like I said, to come to humanity's table with an argument, you know, and what matters is my argument is structured around, you know, the way we are as a species, you know, that's what matters, okay, you know, and I'm going to attempt to relay, you know, certain aspects of, you know, that structure here, you know, in the next, you know, 20 or 30 minutes, you know, relay ideas about what we are, and if I can lay them down in your mind, well, you know, then we can establish them as mindsets, you know, and how the mind is set around this reality. Okay, that's part of what I want to bring to the table. I want you and I to discuss our minds in relation to this reality. This is important, okay, because the mind is the source of every single problem manifest. You know, everything good manifest, incubators has been a manifestation of the mind, you know, how the mind was set around an incubator and its mechanics, you know, when you add it all up, you know, it's linear, binary, it's as easy as rocket science, etc. You know, we can all understand those frames. But anyway, you know, how is our mind set? You know, how is our mind set around what has been established in the name of, you know, what has been established in the name of, okay? If we want to discuss minds, and like I said, this is just, you know, an outline of what we are as a species, you know, but this is part of what I am trying to bring to the table. You know, I want you to understand how big we are for a start. You know, I want you to understand how big we are in relation to each other. You know, we need to start understanding, you know, intuitively, you know, that, you know, pyramids don't represent us, or palaces. You know, our monarchies, you know, our Vaticans, okay? We're represented by what has been documented by our, you know, species. You know, I'm represented by, you know, the establishment of, you know, man at his poetic best. You know, I'm anti the establishment of anything that flies in the face of that, okay? That's part of what my fight is about too. You know, I'm not anti the establishment of love and peace and incubators. You know, I'm not anti the establishment of equality. You know, I'm anti the establishment of any establishment, any institution that has crushed our essence, our nature, our language. Any institution that has crushed us mentally, crushed the mind, crushed how the mind is set around this reality. Okay, and that's an argument. That is a debate. That's an argument. Okay, and that's what philosophers are about. You know, that's why I brag the brag of a philosopher, okay? You know, some people farm food, thankfully. I'm glad they do. You know, some people farm medicine, I'm grateful. You know, we're all grateful, okay? We farm the mind, philosophers farm the mind, okay? I farm the mind, okay? And this is my fight. You know, this is my poetic fight, my philosophical fight, you know, in the face of, you know. And like I said, I represent humanity. I represent humanity. I fly humanity's flag, you know, for babies in Mexico. You know, for babies in Palestine, for babies in Israel, you know, for the elite babies, for the poor babies, you know, for the middle class babies. Okay. More importantly, you know, I fly a flag and I represent their mums and dads who are lost at the time of. You know, I represent their mums and dads who are lost at the time of, okay? You know, my fight is with mums and dads, the grown-ups, the adults, you know, the adults that think they're popes, you know, the mindset, how is it set? The adults that think they're monarchists, the adults that have turned into capitalists, dog eat fucking dog, you know, blow her breasts off, blow his testicles off, blow his legs off, blow her fucking head off, blow his head off, blow their fucking arms off, blow their legs off, blow their legs off, get me the dollar. You know, I'm anti that. You know, I am the extreme of that. You know, because that is the extreme of our nature. You know, that is the extreme of our nature. You know, and when you understand mindsets, okay, this is why mindsets have to be discussed. This is why language has to be discussed in essence. Where are our philosophers bringing this to the table? You know, like I am. Right now I just want to make a few points about why this subject is important, you know, what I'm trying to, you know, what I'm banging on here about, you know. a new renaissance, is needed, the phoenix has to come back up out of the fire, and to do this, to bring the phoenix back up, so to speak, to bring our souls back to life, we have to start addressing, what we are in essence of each other, okay? And in essence, in relation to, who has the biggest car and the biggest palace and who has the most houses, that is not our essence. There's no poetry in that, if you want to be measured, with such pseudo frameworks, then, go ahead, it's primitive, not my fault, but it's all monkey, we're dying out there. And this is why what I'm talking about is so important. We're dying in offices, we're dying digging holes, our backs are broken, we're dying in pubs, we're dying on drugs, we're dying, in depression, we're dying of starvation, our planet's dying. We're dying because of primitive ideologies, okay? We keep looking at what manifests from these ideologies, young kids robbing phones, kids have become gangs of youth, why not bunches of friends, okay? Why don't we see children as bunches of friends, bunches of philosophers walking, okay? That's the way I see them, because I'm a philosopher, okay? But some of the maggots see them differently, and ironically, it's the same maggots that have turned them into, kids who are lost. That we are dying because we're lying to each other, because we're deceiving each other, because we're robbing each other, because we're exploiting each other, but because we're chopping up our real wealth and exchanging it for a measurement in pseudo-wealth. Gold chains or mountains. P. Daddy wearing fur coats or fur coats left on the tigers. Measure up your wealth. Okay, and these subjects are important. And maybe it sounds like a load of fucking bullshit. Who knows? The fact is, I can blow Vaticans away and Pentagons away and tiny little bug institutions, that are advocates of exploitation, dog-eat-dog, laissez-faire capitalist values, upper class values, snot economics, snot glutton politics. It's all bullshit. And it all has to end, and it all has to end in debate. It all has to end, at the table of philosophy. We need to step in and show how we are there intelligently. We cannot PR ourselves anymore there. We cannot PR ourselves. We're too big for that. Okay, we're evolving, we're moving, the paradigm is shifting as I speak. The paradigm is shifting. Enlightened mums and dads and enlightened sons and daughters are coming back to the table. And I am one of this, I'm a drop in that waterfall. I'm a drop in that waterfall, but my fight is new because my fight wants to force you into a position mentally, not physically, mentally, that you have no choice but to discuss the mind. I want to come into the table and I want to come to the table and discuss, our essence, like I said, in relation to language and metaphysics. Metaphysics is about, what's holding up the quantum level, what's holding up our empirical face, okay? And, it's too heavy to discuss it here today on camera. It's too heavy, There's just hundreds and hundreds of hours of, study to set the mind up the right way. But it's a language for who we are. That's what metaphysics is about. It's a science of finding heaven, if you like. Metaphysics is an important subject, and it's up to the philosophers, to come to the table with these studies. The philosophers from Israel and the philosophers from Palestine. Where are they? I'm angry, in some ways at monarchies, but I want to hug the Queen too, just to give her a hug and go, hey, hello, Elizabeth. How lost are you? And I want to hug John Paul and go, how lost are you? They call you a Rottweiler, how ugly. I'd rather be called a lamb. We're lost and we're desperate, mums are desperate, dads are desperate. So much. I can't keep up, we're an amazing species. We've been documented as amazing. Okay, and I'm desperate. I want you to invite me to your fucking tables. Okay, I'm a philosopher. My past, I've made mistakes. But, I'm a phoenix coming out of the fire, and allow that. I want to come to the Vatican and to the Queen's table, okay, and I will bring courtesy. But I'm not going to fucking worship you as a queen, as an illusion. I'm a pseudo-intellectualist. Okay, that's what's killing us. Pseudo-intellectualism, primitive fucking mindsets. Mindsets that, by extension, have determined monarchy and what monarchy stood for. The constitution of monarchy. That which determined Vaticans and that which determined hierarchical frames and patriarchal frames and patriotism. Slavery is fucking primitive. That's how fucking sick I am of it. And I, if nobody else. Tough fucking shit. I am not primitive. I'm in a scientific limbo, metaphysical limbo, a linguistic limbo. We're up against babies that have been turned into fucking monsters, Thatcherified, tabloidized, people in offices chopping up cultures for dollars. The culture is your wealth. The mountain is your wealth. The forest is your wealth. Not fucking gold chains and fucking bling and cars and P Daddy fur coats. Pyramid, puny. We're bigger than that. I've listened, I've studied. Okay, and I'm back at the table. And if you'd be so kind, to invite me into your tables to talk to your philosophers, to talk to American philosophers and Russian philosophers and Chinese philosophers. I want them to come to your institutions to talk. Okay, I want to come to your schools to talk. I want to come to your churches to talk. I want to come to your gardens to talk. Okay, or you can come to me to talk. And make sure you bring a hug. Make sure you bring a hug. Okay, that's the first, that's how we introduce ourselves. After that, we can debate dialectically what we are. Okay, epistemologically, what we are. Phenomenologically, what we are. Linguistically, what we are. Metaphysically, what we are. Okay, in essence, after that we can constitute ourselves by it, and after that the game is over. Checkmate, 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 checkmate.